what knowledge, skills and behaviours are you expecting from these graduates? The employers looked at things very, very long term. They were very interested in the ability for people to learn new, anticipate things that haven't been anticipated. That critical thinking, it was awesome. It's really brought academia and employers and industry closer together, which I think is always a good thing. We are. I mean, we do interact, but to actually be hand in hand creating a program together, that's special.
Welcome back to another episode of Making Out the SRE Online podcast. Today we're joined by a truly visionary leader in engineering education, Dr. Jen Goodyear. She's the Dean of Lausanne School of Engineering at York University and a driving force behind Canada's first fully work-integrated digital technologies degree. From New Zealand to UK to Canada, Jen has reimagined how we prepare the next generation of technical talent, not just for the jobs of today, but for the work of tomorrow. Today, we're digging into something I think all SREs, site reliability engineers, and really all professionals should be thinking about. How do we build a resilient skill set for the work environment that's constantly shifting? Jen, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Kevin. It's great to be here, and I'm looking forward to the chat.
So Jen, you had such an incredible bio, so I want to make sure I got it right by reading it out. So a couple questions to open this. How did you get into this field, and why do you love what you do?
Okay, good question. I started out from a working class background. I never thought that, I didn't even know what a university was, never mind degrees. And unfortunately, my mother died when I was 10 years old. And at that time, my father was obviously having a bit of a hard time with 2 young kids. We were moving around a lot. And I didn't really have much guidance because it was just about existing. And then my dad remarried, and it was at a very, how can I say, a time of your life as an early teenager when you've been influenced a lot. And this lovely woman, my stepmother, she was that good influence. And for her, she was quite different because she was illiterate until she was in her mid-40s. And so she understood the value of education. And at the time, she knew that I was fairly clever. I don't know why. But, and so she was encouraging me at school. And she worked as an assembly operator in a factory. And so because you're only influenced by what you know, she goes, Jane, I think you'd be really good coming to work at my factory as an apprentice. And I went, yeah, that sounds good. You know, nobody else is telling me anything else. And I said, well, how do I get into your business then? Because they were making electrical relays and things like that. So I thought, electrical engineering. And then what happened when I didn't get any help at high school. They said, no, if you want to be an engineer, you need to do Latin. Drop your physics. So it was just so hard to get into it. Yeah. And so I ignored what they said, which is this is going to be a theme through today about just ignore it, just do what you feel is right. So I ended up doing good when I was 16 years of age. You take your leaving school exams, and the school said actually you did quite well. Stay on at school and do your more advanced levels to maybe go to university. I was thinking, no, but I want to be an apprentice. And so the company said, oh, carry on. And at the time, there was a high school, and I think you've got it similar in Canada, a young enterprise scheme where you set up a little company and you make things and you do the. So I was the managing director, and loved it. Loved the organisation, the business angle, and then I just thought, well, how can I merge the more business side and operations with the technical side, and came up and found a discipline in engineering called production engineering.
Oh.
You don't have it in Canada. You have manufacturing systems engineers, which is the closest thing to it, where you design equipment to go into factories, you specify the equipment, you create factories. So I really wanted to get into that. And in a way, my stepmother helped me get to that. And so I embarked on a degree in production engineering. Unfortunately, my stepmother died and my father died, so I was very on my own. And I think for me, and that we'll talk about resilience in a moment, but when you're faced where you haven't really got a family home and you're 18 years old and you've got an opportunity, and my opportunity was at the time free education, because the government paid for education. And because I didn't have any money, they provided a bursary for me to live on. So to me, I've got lots to thank the UK government for at the time, because I think if I hadn't had that opportunity or free education, I wouldn't probably be here today. And so going back to the drive and being resilient, I knew that I didn't have a fallback. It was on me to succeed. And so I threw everything at learning and did really well in my program, ended up being a great engineer in the automotive industry. Yes, I started off in the automotive industry. I was in a first-tier supplier making brakes, clutches and steering systems, and as a production engineer. And again, same thing happened. My boss at the time, he goes, Jane, there's a job here that you should... I'm going, are you getting rid of me? And he goes, no, this has got you written all over it. And it was actually going back to university to become a research fellow, which again was paid. It was an opportunity to really get to grips with the advances of what was happening in manufacturing, to widen my network. And so I went back to university to do a PhD. And then whilst I was doing my PhD, I had to do some teaching, and that's how I got to learn how wonderful it is to pass on knowledge to people and transform their lives. So that, I know it's a bit of a lengthy journey, but that's how I got to where I am.
Wow, you're even more incredible after I heard that story. And we all have the UK government to thank for that. It was fascinating to hear your journey, and you were a hardware engineer as well. Wow, I can totally see why you have the passion for what you do now.
It's very ingrained in my values about how we look at educating. So yeah, it really is.
So Janice, thank you for that background on the journey, and really appreciate that. You've been a powerful advocate and a trailblazer for work integrated learning. Can you explain to the audience what it is and how you see work integrated learning shape how students learn and contribute to the workplace?
Sure. There's a spectrum of work integrated learning. At the base roots, it's a structured integration of real world experience into education. And there's different degrees of work integrated learning. So you've got the soft touch approach where you, Kevin, I could invite you in to speak to our first year students about some of the projects you're working on. So that's a light touch approach to getting into the student journey, their education journey, about, Kevin's doing this at IBM, XYZ. So that's, and then you've got another way of, you might be doing a capstone. So I've got a group of final year students, and you have come along and you've got a real world problem that your engineers have sort of been grappling with, but it's on a bit of the low burner. But let's give it to these students to have a go at.
Right. Okay.
So that's another type of work integrated learning. Then you can do an intern or a co-op where you might spend 4 months or 12 months. And then you've got the more fully integrated, and we know them as apprenticeships. So, or apprenticeship style learning when you're actually fully embedded in the workplace. And you're actually, as a learner, learning on the job, and you're learning through an academic program. And because we've now got amazing technology, we can do a lot of blended learning, so that they can listen to things, listen to podcasts, get AI curating. So can you summarize this and listen to it? And then you can come to the university campus and be exposed to the latest research labs to do whatever. So it's really blurring the workplace and the academic campus. And and the way it works is, if you think about how we learn, we have passive learning and active learning. Passive learning, an example is listening. It's like watching the TV. You can't help yourself, but within 2 minutes you're thinking of something else. You know what I mean? And today is the lecture, and most people are doing other things, right? So that's very passive learning. And then an active learning is the ultimate, is when you have to teach somebody else. That's the most active learning, because you really need to understand it and to be able to navigate. Well, Kevin, why are you struggling with that concept? Because you're having to then go, think through. So that's the most active approach. Work integrated learning, in a way, it's a very active learning, because you straight away, in real time, virtually, with what you're learning academically, theoretically, conceptually, you're seeing it in, really, that's what that means, that's how it can shape things. And so it helps the brain really embed that knowledge. And so it's work integrated learning and like an apprenticeship style. It's more about amplification of what you would normally typically learn in a normal way of
Yeah.
or a typical way, should I
Yeah.
say,
Yeah.
of an academic program at a university or college.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
I learned so much. I mean, dating myself, I remember. First of all, I mean, you have a beautiful campus here.
It is. It is.
We are definitely in an exciting time. I'm truly excited for the next generation of students. You speak of passive learning. I do remember that sitting in the lecture rooms of 400 or 500 students in the back, like, oh wait, what were the notes? and I can totally see active learning where wake you up,
and then
right?
you'd cram everything.
I would never do that.
and you only take in so much. But this kind of learning is very effective, very effective.
It is.
So that's what it's about, essentially.
I reflect often on, hey, what I learned in university, how much of that is applicable in my day-to-day job. I graduated electrical engineering, now I'm doing SRE. I would say the soft skills of problem solving, curiosity is there, but a lot of the hard skills, I did not pick that up during school, but I can totally see a student in a work integrated learning environment. It's 100% applicable. And I think that is such a good way of learning, be ready for what you need, right? Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and so it's great to be helping Canada, and it's not just Ontario but Canada, think about these kinds of different ways of learning. Mm-hmm. I don't think it's ever going to overtake, how we operate universities and what learning goes in there.
The work integrated learning is very new to North America.
It's the apprenticeship style. I mean, co-op and interns are big. Right, that's the way. But again, with those, it's really good. Mm-hmm. But it's not actually fully integrated into the curriculum. So you might be lucky if you are studying something and then you at work and you go, oh my God, I'm all on, I can do this or whatever. But they're not designed like that.
That's very true.
So, it's...
Yeah, kind of study, go off for 6 months, 12 months, right?
Yeah.
So, shifting topic to rethinking the engineering education for work of tomorrow. But the grounding question is, Jen, what does the work of tomorrow look like to you?
I think it comes back to what we were talking, or just briefly said that word about resilience. Mm-hmm. And I think things are changing so rapidly, and it's exponentially. Yeah. It seems. I don't know whether it is, but it's that. It's just the way the world is. And we have to accept that. It's ever changing. And so really, it's about setting us up for accepting change and being resilient.
Yeah.
And that, I think, sets us up for a different way of how we think about educating.
Right.
Because how do we create resilient people? Now, going back to my background, I had no choice to be resilient. I could have been somebody else and it could have crushed me. But again, it's that drive and that acceptance of change.
Right.
So how do you do that in education? And how do you do it in a business sense? Because it's so I'm looking at it from a how to prepare the next generation to be resilient. How are businesses doing that?
Be ready for the unexpected. If I were to go back to my day job, the trait of being a good site reliability engineer is anticipate everything that can fail, will eventually fail, and you can trip and fall, but you will get up and you will learn. I would say that's also the core principle for business to be ready. It's kind of like innovation. You don't expect everything you try to just, you quit the next ChatGPT, everything you try, right? There's going to be times, there'll be often times you fail, but be okay with that, learn from that, and keep on going, and eventually you will succeed. Yeah.
And so that is very similar to how we need to look at educating. And it's about, it's not about the passive learning. It's about active learning when you put in the learner into a new scenario and giving them a safe space to think creatively, anticipate what everything can go wrong, but you're not in a life and death situation. So, but the assessment becomes important, and this is where I think more work needs to be done, because at the moment we're just focused always on the knowledge.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. How do we assess somebody getting to that knowledge? And how they act in different scenarios. And it comes back to reflection, being aware of your learning, and I was in a very uncomfortable place, and why was that? And because if you don't get the learners to know how to reflect, particularly on these things about being resilient, and we'll probably talk about AI in a bit, but it's that shift. It's not just about the knowledge attainment anymore.
Yeah, no, it's not. It's where you win led me to think about an important part about learning in organization is psychological safety.
Yeah.
Right? It's, imagine if Jim won't have a problem, goes to Kevin. Kevin's like, why would you have that problem? You shouldn't have that problem, right? And what's Jim gonna do next time? Probably not gonna ask. How can you create a safe environment where people feel okay to ask for help? I think that's super critical. And you mentioned about assessment for students. Does the mindset of the culture of psychological safety apply to learning and education as well?
Yeah, absolutely. And I wouldn't say that we actively do it, but at the moment, I think we're going through a transition, a significant transition in education, because AI. Do you know that's person's work? So, in a way, there's a school of thought of we've got to bring back the final exams, because then we'll know that person's actually doing it, which is one thought. But again, we know that examinations aren't what they're up to, because you cram it and you forget it the next day.
Right.
Or maybe a week, if that. So they've never been really good assessments for really, do they really know it?
Right.
And again, this brings me back to why I'm very passionate about work integrated learning, because you can't hide.
Yeah.
Because you're doing things.
Right.
You know, if things don't work, we know about it. So why is that?
Yeah.
And again, it's learning. It's a complex thing of how we learn.
Yeah, totally. Our two teenagers, so I can totally see it. One of them totally refused to use ChatGPT to start, and then they later embraced it as a source of reference, a point of view, and he blossomed after that. it was really good to see.
I really like it, but it is that challenge of how do we then make sure that it is that person's work.
Yeah.
But it comes down to prompting, doesn't it? And
Well, there's a joke in the industry, we're all becoming prompt engineers.
that's a good term to use.
Yeah.
Because you need to know the right questions, and it comes back to being a good engineer. The hardest part of being an engineer is how to define what's the problem. Defining the problem.
Yeah.
That's the most hardest thing to do.
Yeah. And in a way, training everyone to be better prompt engineers gets everyone better at asking the right questions and drive that curiosity, drive that learning. In a way, maybe we can transition to the industry challenges. So here's an interesting one for you. What has been the most surprising or most successful about your effort to embed industry challenges into student learning?
What I really liked, and this was when I was designing the fully work integrated learning model at York, we have a process called the Trailblazer process where we were designing a program that has graduates who will become software developers, cybersecurity specialists, and AI data scientists. And so it gave us an opportunity to bring together faculty, the academics, with employers of these graduates. And because you need software developers, cybersecurity, and data scientists, we had 15 senior technical level people from different industries and different sizes, because the actual graduates can go and work in banks, they can work in manufacturing, they can work in the ICT and the digital area, they can work in a bakery, because health, insurance, because everywhere needs these kinds of people. So having these people from different sectors and whatever, so they weren't competitors.
Yeah.
And they sat down with us and we thrashed out what knowledge, skills and behaviours are you expecting from these graduates. Now, when I was talking to faculty, there was a lot of scepticism because, industry, they're just looking for today and we'll probably end up with just a bunch of tools that they, and this isn't, critical thinking about how wrong. It was great to see when we workshopped, so we had a couple of half-day workshops, and how, the employers looked at things very, very long term. They were very interested in this, again, the ability for people to learn new, anticipate things that haven't been anticipated. That critical thinking, it was awesome, and so it's really brought academia and employers and industry closer together, which I think is always a good thing. We do interact, but to actually be hand in hand creating a program together, that's special.
And I'm sure all those professionals, they learn quite a bit in the workshop as well.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. And So I really enjoy that just seeing the magic. It
is magic, isn't it? Yeah. So we spoke about a need for deeper, more meaningful collaboration between universities and industry. What does an ideal partnership look like to you?
It's a long-term it's got to be long-term. It's not, shouldn't be just transactional.
I like that word.
And I think sometimes it can be, oh, we want talent. Give us your talent. And then you hear, well, the talent isn't good enough. So, it's just something you hear. You have responsibility for educating, we have responsibility. So again, I think it's breaking that transactional, and it's about meaningful partners around what higher education can do. And it isn't just about, the next generation of talent.
Yeah.
It's our research. It's you being an advocate for supporting our students, giving back as an individual, but also as part of your corporation. And so it would be built on partnerships that have the similar values as well. I think that is very important.
Yeah, that resonates with me. It's also just like within an organization where different teams or different organizations within a larger company, a true partnership is not throw something over the fence, right? Like transactional, but it's really partnership, collaborations. Actually, one of my previous guys, I'll quote it, I'll see if I get it right. I love this one. He say, collaboration is when I go to you and knowing that by reaching out to you, I know you can help me succeed. And I think that's sort of what we need to bring together. And I like you mentioned about research. I know we have a strong research relationship where we can dream about and make happen what we think is coming up next. Okay, so,
Yeah. And so the more that we can collaborate and partner with employers, our communities, and get that context about learning. So it's not an ivory tower. It's actually, no, we're here to help our communities because we're educating to help, our communities. It's the way forward.
Yeah, I totally think so. And maybe even up-level that active learning to be, is this the word, applied learning?
Yeah.
So learning on the job?
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
yeah. Similar, very, interchangeable.
Feel free to correct me on my terminology.
No, it's fine.
You've been too kind.
It's fine.
So if we were to go from the academia, the industry, to developing resilient engineers, in addition to technical expertise, what human or soft skills do you see as essential for students to build on so they can be resilient for their career journey?
Words that for me describe developing resilience is to be empathetic. So again, if you know and can see around you and have that, feeling, things become less as a surprise to you because you have that innate ability to see what's going on.
Yeah.
So it's not like, oh, whoa, that blindsided me.
Right.
Communication is important. I think being curious the more you learn and go, oh, what's that? And you then again, it's all about not being surprised, and then it becomes traumatic about change and whatever, because it's just normal, everyday. The way you behave is I didn't know about that.
Right.
And being self-aware as well. So it's again that because they all tie in communication, being empathetic.
Yeah.
It does stem from being self-aware about how you are. Are you an active listener?
Right.
As part of the communication. So all these things, I think, are soft skills that are needed, and they're hard. There should be hard skills.
I really like you brought up empathy, because part of, again, what we do, I would say in the profession of SRE, in learning about disruptions, is to be empathetic, to put ourselves in someone else's shoes. What were they thinking? What was the pressure they're under when they face this incident, this disruption? To really see from their point of view, to see collectively how we can make it better. And when you have empathy, you also have psychological safety, because we are less blameful of someone else, because we can emphasize with what they had to go through.
Because you're trying to walk in their shoes about what happened. And,
and I agree with you. I wish, maybe that's a question. Is that a skill that's been taught? I know it's kind of the soft skill. How are soft skills like that being taught?
But yeah, I mean, we do do a lot of project-based learning or problem-based learning, and particularly in teams.
Okay.
And there's opportunities to reflect, and it comes back to the reflection piece.
Sure.
Because once you start to tease out a situation that didn't go right, well, maybe one of the conclusions was I wasn't that empathetic. So how can we then support the learner to actually learn about being more empathetic, which again is about listening and getting feedback from people and being mentored from people who have good skills at that. It all plays a part. So I think setting the environment to have a learner experiencing interactions with people and then reflecting is what we do. That's how we don't teach it. It's hard to teach. It's like how do you teach ethics? It's always
wouldn't we would love to know that.
it's always bothered me about we do a course in ethics. Really? No, the way to do really appreciate ethics is when you put people in a situation and they have to make an ethical judgment.
You have to live through it.
And again, that we can devise, contexts that actually put people in a very, not a clean-cut decision. And we can do that in a safe space.
Yeah.
And that is how you build these types of skills. That it's not about I'm going to write an ethics exam and quote code 23.56 on da-da-da-da. I mean, you need to know what you're bound by.
Yeah.
But the hard bit is you're in that situation and you have to experience it and you have to understand why you made that decision.
Yeah, and for someone to change their behavior to be ethical, they had to fundamentally believe it.
And the consequences. Yeah.
So Jen, really appreciate the journey you took us through. A few closing reflections. If you could redesign how we prepare people for the future of work from the ground up, where would you begin?
It's quite a large
have a blank check.
Look, the way things are changing, it's constant, and I think we start off the conversation with, it seems exponential, and so learning never stops. Mm-hmm. So how do we then think about, as individuals, that we're always learning and acquiring knowledge and new skills? And so I think we have to accept that learning is continuous. And I don't know whether even government policies are actually seen through that light of learning is continuous. And again, learning's very personalised. We all learn differently at different rates. So we're trying to adapt to that, but we could do a lot more. A lot of the conversation we've talked about, it's very apparent that learning has to be connected to the real world. Because again, it amplifies the conceptual world, the theoretical world. It really does do that. So I still am a great believer of breaking down the silos between education and work. And if we can develop more blended approaches together throughout somebody's life. So we're not just talking about 18-year-olds, 25-year-olds. I'm talking about 50-year-olds, 60-year-olds. Because everybody has to work and earn and, to survive today's life. So if we can bring learning to the workplace, then it allows us to continuously learn together. And so that is the challenge. And I would like to see more and more of that happening. So.
Yeah, me too. And let's definitely make sure we partner on that to make it happen. Yeah. And finally, what advice would you offer to young engineers who want to stay relevant, resilient, and impactful in a world that won't stop changing?
Okay. I'd say be curious. That keeps coming up time and time again. Don't accept the status quo. That means being brave, really. I think be true to your values. I've always made decisions based on my values, and I still do to that day, because at the end of the day, you might make the wrong decision, but if you know truly what it's in your heart that was the right decision, then that is important, particularly as you go into leadership. I would say if you have opportunities, just go with it. I've moved to 3 countries, had opportunities to do that. It was scary. I didn't know what was going to happen, but it always works out some way. So I think that. I think everybody goes, oh, did you have a 5-year plan, 10? No, life doesn't work like that. It's always throws things at you that you really didn't anticipate, like in your job. You just got to go with it and just do your best and figure it out. So don't pressure yourself. Don't be too hard on yourself. And yeah, I think to be resilient, you just accept these sorts of things and just that willingness to go, this will pass, whatever's happening, and we'll get through it and come out the other end better for it, actually. And I think that I've had some awful things happen in my life, but in a way it's made me who I am. So that's just the way it is. That's life.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Jen, thank you so much. Thank you for being vulnerable here and sharing your words of wisdom. So there you go, ladies and gentlemen. Being curious, being resilient, and don't be afraid to try something new.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Jen. And I'd like to thank you, the audience, for listening. Be sure to visit sreomelette.com for more conversations on how the practice of SRE can help you achieve success for your business and your clients. And remember, resilience isn't built in the heat of an incident or in a single moment. It's forged through how we learn, collaborate, and support each other every day. So keep asking questions, keep sharing your perspectives, and keep making your own SRE omelette. See you in the next episode.